Everybody, good morning. Welcome to your English class. Today we will be starting with a new poem that is for term 2. Okay, starting term 2. I know many of you will not watch the video because you are busy with your exams. But whenever you do have time, then please watch this video. This is part of your term 2 exam. So the poem today that we are going to do is Vocation. Vocation by Rabindranath Tagore. Now in the upcoming video, I have told you something about Rabindranath Tagore, so I will not be speaking about him now. I will also be sending you your learning outcomes of this lesson. So this lesson is basically about vocations. Vocations means your jobs. Yes, your jobs. And the narrator of this poem is a small boy. Now as you know, small children, maybe even you change your vocation every day. Every day, say today I will be a pilot. Especially a small child, you'll ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? He'll say, I want to be a pilot. Next day he'll say, oh, I want to be a rickshawala. Again the next day he'll say, I want to be a panwala. Yes? Or sometimes they will say, I want to be a donut. I want to be a cake. I want to be Superman. So all these vocations keep changing. So you also at this age that you are now, you will not have any fixed vocation, but as you grow bigger, then you will have a certain specific aim in life. Okay, but as of now, it will change every day. I am sure it changes every day. If you see someone and that person impresses you a lot, then you will say, oh, I want to be rich like him. I want to be a businessman. Yes, so every day it will change. So this vocation, this poem is by Rabindranath Tagore, in which there is a narrator, a small boy, who changes his vocation every day, or in a day he changes his vocation 3 times. In this poem, 3 vocations are mentioned. One is a hawker, second one is a gardener, and third one is watchman. He wants to be, in the first paragraph, in the morning he wants to be a hawker, second paragraph he wants to be a gardener, and in third paragraph he wants to be a watchman. So you see how it changes. Yes, I've explained to you each paragraph wise, so please you watch the video and then you decide what you want to be. Okay, you will have your own vocation, you will have your own aim. So you decide. Okay, so continue watching the video. First of all is a bio sketch of Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, please watch the video and if you have doubts, let me know. So the poem Vocation is written by Rabindranath Tagore. This picture is of Rabindranath Tagore. He was a Bengali poet. Okay, a Bengali poet. He used to write mostly in Bengali. He was a writer, a composer, a philosopher. He had great philosophy of life. He spoke about life a lot. And above all, he was also a great painter. Okay, he was a great painter. He was born on 7th May 1861 in Kolkata. At that time it was called Calcutta. Now it is called Kolkata. 7th May 1861. And he died on 7th August 1941. Again in Kolkata. Now as he was a painter also, he has painted many memorable paintings. Some of his paintings are called, one of his painting is called Dancing Woman. Another one is called Woman Face. One is Dancing Girl, and such many more paintings he has made. Okay, and he also won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. He won this Nobel Prize. Some of his poems, very, very famous poems, are Gitanjali, and one more is this, what we are studying today, Vocation. Then he also has Dui Biga Jameen. Yes, that also is a poem written by him. So he's a very, very renowned, everyone in the world knows him. Very famous, very renowned poet. And he also belongs to the family of, if you know, this Sharmila Tagore. You know? What is her son's name? Do you remember her son's name? You will find out. Find out. This is your task, to find out who is the son of Sharmila Tagore, who belongs to this family. Okay, so now let us continue with the poem. So, vocation. On your way to school or market, you see many people at work. In pairs, discuss what you have noticed. Then read this poem. You may read it aloud with a partner if you would like. So all that we cannot do here, so we just read it yourself, okay? So like I told you in my introductory video about the different kinds of vocations. Vocation is a work, is a job that people do. We choose different vocations. So this poem is about that, okay? So let us continue with the main poem. When the gong sounds 10 in the morning and I walk to school by a lane, every day I meet the hawker crying, bangles, crystal bangles. There is nothing to hurry him on. There is no road he must take, no place he must go to, no time when he must come home. I wish I were a hawker, spending my day in the road crying, bangles, crystal bangles. So this is the first paragraph of the poem, in which the poet talks about wanting to be a hawker. Now a hawker is a person who walks around on the road selling stuff, selling things. Not, he doesn't have a shop, he walks around. Like we in Assamese we call it periwala. You know periwala? Yes, he sells things. So he says, the poet says, when the gong sounds 10 in the morning. When the gong means, gong is a kind of a bell, not like our electrical bell, but this bell is a flat kind of brass plate and it has a thick stick in which we bang the plate, and that is the gong. And when the bell rings, that means it is 10 o'clock in the morning, and I walk to school by a lane. He's going to school, the poet is going to school through his lane. Lane means path or gully. And as he goes to school every day, I meet the hawker crying. He meets the hawker. He meets that man selling, and this man is crying out. Crying in the sense he's saying out loud. Okay, bangles, crystal bangles. Crystal means it's made of glass here. Glass bangles. He's shouting and screaming for people to know that he is walking about in that area. And then people will call him. So that is why he is calling out loud. Crying here means not crying with tears, but saying it out loud. And then the poet says, there is nothing to hurry him on. Nothing hurries him up. He is not going in a hurry anyway. He is walking about slowly. There is no road he must take. There is no specific place that he is going to. He just walks around here and there. There is no specific road that he must go to. No place he must go to. There is no specific destination. Oh, I have to go here. No, it's not that. He just roams about wherever his feet take him. He roams about. No time when he must come home. There is no specific time also that he has to go home. He can go home any time he pleases. It doesn't mean that he has to go at 8 o'clock home. For example, if you have to go out, mommy says, come back home by 4 o'clock. That means you have a time that you must reach home. But this hawker has no specific time. He can go home early. He can go home late. He is a master of himself. He can do whatever he pleases. And that is why this poet, this boy says, I wish I were a hawker. In the first paragraph, he wishes to be a hawker, spending my day in the road, crying bangles, crystal bangles. So when you are small, you have seen small children, they say, I want to be a rickshawala, I want to be a sabjiwala, or I want to be Superman. So these are all fantasies that people have, the children have. It's only when you grow bigger that you say that, yes, I want to become a doctor and I will become a doctor. It's when you become bigger that you understand all these kinds of vocations, all these kinds of jobs. But when you are small, every day your aim changes. Right? So here in the first paragraph, he wishes to be a hawker. He wants to sell bangles on the road, mainly because he does not have any specific time to go home. He does not have to go anywhere directly or specific destination. He can come and go as he pleases. So in the first paragraph, he wants to be a hawker selling bangles. So remember, in the first paragraph, it is morning time when he is going to school at 10 in the morning. Now second paragraph. When at 4 in the afternoon I come back from the school, I can see through the gate of that house the gardener digging the ground. He does what he likes with his spade. He soils his clothes with dust. Nobody takes him to task if he gets baked in the sun or gets wet.
I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. Now coming to the second paragraph. Second paragraph is happening after school. That is at 4 in the afternoon when this poet is returning home. So he says, when at 4 in the afternoon I come back from the school, I can see through the gate of that house. So he sees one house, not his own house. He sees one house, and through the gate he can see a gardener digging the ground. Yes, a gardener takes care of the garden. So from the gate he sees, through the gate he sees this gardener digging the ground. He does what he likes with his spade. Spade is a tool in which gardeners use to dig the ground, which farmers use to dig the ground. So also does a gardener use to dig the ground. So this poet can see this gardener digging the ground with his spade. So he says he can do whatever he likes with his spade. He soils his clothes with dust. Soils here means dirties. He dirties his clothes with dust because he is digging the ground. He is getting dirty. Nobody takes him to task. Nobody scolds him for getting dirty. So in other words, this boy is saying that if I get dirty, I get scolding. But this man, he is not taken to task, means he is not scolded by anybody, and he can do whatever he likes with his spade. He can even soil his clothes or dirty his clothes with dust. Nobody takes him to task. If he gets baked in the sun or gets wet, he can do whatever he pleases. Whether he feels hot in the sun, gets baked means gets very, very hot in the sun, or he gets wet. Nobody scolds him. Nobody takes him to task. And then now he makes his wish. He says, I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. So now in the second paragraph, he wants to be a gardener. You see how he changes his aims. Yes, in the morning he wanted to be a hawker selling bangles, and now on his way back from school, when he sees the gardener, he wants to be a gardener, digging away. He just wants to dig and play in the soil, and he does not want anybody to stop him from digging. He says, nobody will stop me if I am a gardener. I can soil my clothes. I can do what I please, what I want. Okay, that is the second paragraph. So first paragraph was morning, second paragraph was afternoon. So now we come to evening. Just as it gets dark in the evening and my mother sends me to bed, I can see through my open window the watchman walking up and down. So now he's coming to the third vocation. That is a watchman. So just as it gets dark and he is sent to bed by his mother says it's night, go to sleep. He goes to bed, and from his open window, from his bedroom, from his open window, he can see the watchman walking up and down the road. Like a watchman, you know, every locality, every area in Guwahati also, we have watchmen. They take care of the locality. Yes, and sometimes they also blow their whistle, and sometimes they do catch thieves. So from his window of his bedroom, he can see the watchman walking up and down. So now he's getting ideas in his head. The lane is dark and lonely, and the street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. The watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side, and never once goes to bed in his life. I wish I were a watchman walking the street all night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. By Rabindranath Tagore. So, coming back to the poem, he says, the lane is dark and lonely. It is night now, and the lane is dark and lonely. The gully is dark and lonely, and the street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. So what do you understand by this? With one red eye. Yes, there is only one bulb which looks nearly red. It seems like a lamp. Lamp is very, very tall, like a post. No, the post is standing there with one bulb, and it seems to the boy that this lamp is a giant with just one red eye. The red eye is the bulb. It is a street light. He's talking about a street lamp or a street light. And he sees the watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow. The watchman does not have a torch. He has a lantern which burns with oil. So he is swinging, as he is walking, his hand is moving. So also is the lantern. And he walks with his shadow. There is a shadow getting formed because of the light that is there coming from the lantern. It is the watchman's shadow. Obviously the shadow will be at his side. and never once goes to bed in his life. He says the watchman never goes to bed in his life. Now, can that be true? Does a watchman never sleep? According to the small boy, he never sleeps because he never sees him sleeping. Because every night the boy thinks that night is meant only for sleep. But this man is walking the whole night. So when does he sleep? The boy does not see him sleeping in the afternoon. So he thinks that this watchman never ever sleeps, because he is walking up and down the lane every night. And then he makes his wish. I wish I were a watchman walking the street all night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. So now in the third paragraph, the third vocation is that of a watchman. And now he wishes to be a watchman walking in the street and chasing the shadows, chasing all the darkness from the street. With his lantern, all the shadows will go away. And that's what he thinks. Okay, but this is about vocations. So whatever homework is there, we shall do it only after your exams or your PT2 exams get over. Then only we shall do working with the poem. For now, only the poem. So whenever you have time, listen to this poem at least 5 times to the explanation. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.